Hey guys, for your last project, we are going to be learning about value, and we're going to be taking different circles and turning them into objects and then making those circles appear to be spheres. First thing that we're going to do is on a white piece of paper, you guys are going to be using a pencil. I'm going to use a Sharpie just so you're able to see it a little bit better. But we're going to use compasses. These are kind of weird compasses, just ones that don't have that pointy end, so you don't have to worry about poking yourself. I'm going to show you how to use these. We're going to all make 5 different circles, and you can try to do a variety of different sizes. So your pointer finger is going to be positioned on this metal piece right here in the center of this clear circle. And then you're gonna stick your pencil in one of these little circles out here. So the further away that you go from where this metal piece is, the bigger the circle. The closer that you go to it, the smaller the circle. And there's even some little holes in here that you can put your pencil in too. So you don't wanna make one so massive that it goes off the paper or overlap. So we want to kind of make 5 and fill up the space, but not too big of circles. So I'm gonna put my finger on this metal piece right here that I'm pointing to. I'm gonna put my my Sharpie, but you guys are gonna use a pencil, and I'm gonna pull it around, and that is how you make the circle. Okay, so there's 1, and again we want to do 5. Variety of sizes. Oops, that one went off. I'm going to make a new one. All right, so there's my 5 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you have a choice if you would like to make your circles into planets or into sports spheres. So for example, you could make them like, just color them in, make them look like, you know, different planets. Like you could make them look like planets that actually exist, or planets that maybe you just are, you know, creating, coming up with, that aren't necessarily real. Or you can do different sports spheres. Let me show you. So here are 5 planets. So I just used some bright colored fluorescent chalk pastels, and I colored them in, and then I blended them very gently. And then these ones I chose to do some different sports spheres. So I did, you know, bowling, tennis, basketball, volleyball, and baseball. Okay, a soccer ball is going to be really hard to do with hexagons. So if I were you, I might stay away from those. So I'm going to color. I'll do the sports spheres again, and then I'll do some more planets, and then you guys get to pick which ones you do, and then we'll talk about adding value. So here I go on my sports spheres. All right, so what I did is I drew like a really light outline for my different sports that I selected for these different circles. Now I'm gonna color them with chalk pastels. If the chalk pastel is dirty, like it's coated in other colors that, you know, aren't really supposed to be on there, or if you're not sure what the color is, take it onto this extra space. We will eventually be cutting these out, so this extra space isn't gonna bother anything if you have some extra lines in there. All right, now that we have our spheres, or our circles at this point, all colored in, now we are going to take a black piece of pastel, and we are going to be adding a darker value onto one side of each of our circles to make them look like spheres, right? To turn them from shapes into forms. So it really doesn't matter which side you pick, but you just want to pick one side and kind of stick with that for all of them. And then we can kind of position them according how, to wherever we think our light is going to be coming from on our picture that we'll end up gluing these onto. So we'll get to that a little bit later. So let's work on, let's go back to the sports circles first. And so you really want to start with like the outer edge, and don't push too hard. You can kind of gradually build it up. So you want to add the darkest edge right on the outside, right on that outline of the circle, and then you can be a little bit lighter and start to kind of like fill it in a little bit. You don't want to push super hard. The reason is because once you add a little bit, you're actually going to set it down, and you're going to take your finger, make sure it's clean so you don't smear other colors on top of your object, and then you want to blend it in like that. And you're actually going to do that same thing on all of them. So I'm going to move on to this guy. Okay, something else we can do if you want. Now on something like this baseball, it wouldn't really make sense because it's already white, but on the bowling ball, on the opposite side of the shadow, you could take white and add a little teeny highlight. Careful not to smear if you're doing a bowling ball, the holes in the ball where you put your fingers in the sphere. And I don't know that it's going to show up so much on the volleyball, maybe a little bit on the basketball. Kind of smeared that a little bit. So that's to add a highlight on the other side, so I can set the sports ones aside. They're done. Now I'm going to move on to my planets. Remember, you're only doing one or the other. I'm just showing you both options. All right, so I got the shadow on each of them, but now I'm going to go back on some that are really dark. I might add a highlight on the opposite side. All right, my spheres are finished, so now we can move on to the next step.